Ginny, we ready?
Jeannie, we good?
Yeah, I think that, Jennifer, let's,
Oh,
it's
that's right.
3:59, let's go
Okay, 1 minute.
1 minute, and she's up there.
We got a quorum?
Oh, we have 5.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Okay, let's call this meeting to order. And Ginny, can I get a roll call, please?
Yeah, calling roll, Ben Bartow.
Here.
Wesley Chugilern.
Here.
Todd Shipley.
Here.
Ronald Ellis. He's not here. Jennifer Thomas. I think she's delayed. Vida Zude.
Here.
And Nicole Lohr.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Perfect. So item number 2, do we have any public comment, Jean?
There's no public comment on the minutes.
All right, thank you. So number 2.01 on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the audit committee meeting held November 7th of 2024 for action. If it's voted on, do I have a motion to accept the minutes, approve the minutes?
And before you get to the video Zuda for the record, before you get to the motion, there was an item discussed about including the names on for us to see, and Mr. Starkey said he's going to talk to the council about it. That's on page 11 of 48 of the minutes. So, did you ever get a chance to talk to the council about it?
Correct. Kirk Starkey for the record.
Kirk, this is Sarah. We have to just limit it to the meeting minutes, not something discussed during the meeting, because that would be off agenda topic.
Okay.
But, video Zuda for the record, but that was on our minute, that was included in the minute. That's what we discussed last time. That's why I'm asking about it. It's contained in this minute.
Right.
So,
But the reason why we can't discuss it in the approval of the minutes is that's a follow-up to something that was discussed in the meeting. This is just whether to approve the minutes or not to approve the minutes.
Todd Shipley for the record. So, council, when can we discuss it?
I'll do it tonight.
That would either have to be agendized, or Kirk can talk to you guys individually outside of a quorum about what he and I discussed.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you, Vita.
Yeah.
Back to the original, the issue is the motion to accept the minutes as they are stated, which includes your question, which can be resolved at a later point. Do I have somebody,
I second the motion. Video Zuda for the record.
do we have somebody accepting or making the motion first, though?
Oh, I thought you made the motion.
I can't make, I'm chair, I can't make a motion.
I, Nicole Lohr, move that the audit committee approve the minutes of the November 7, 2024 audit committee meeting.
Video Zuda, I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to accept the minutes with no amendments as written. Do I hear everybody say aye?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, item number 2.02, status update on the activities of the Washoe County District Internal Audit Department to include current projects on the fiscal year 25 Washoe County School District Internal Audit Department audit plan. So we have the plan before us, correct?
Correct.
And do you want to address it, Kurt?
Yeah. Good afternoon, members of the committee. Thanks for being here this afternoon. Kirk Starkey for the record. Since this item's for possible action, go ahead and ask questions anytime you want. It's not a problem. But on this one, like we've done in the past, I'll give you an update on where we are with the audit plan. We had charter schools, several charter schools, annual monitoring and the renewals for their licenses. Those are completed. They've been presented to the board actually just this week. So those are done. We're in the process of working on this will be an annual follow-up for our sick leave bank audit from the past. We just started that. That will be presented to you with the results of that one at our next meeting. And then we're in process on several student activity fund audits, including Incline High School. What do we got? McQueen High School and Lemon Valley and Desert Skies Middle School are all in process and being worked. We've also got, as we move down the summary sheet, the hotline programs cases, which I'll address at the next agenda item. But those are where we're at in process. I think we're making a pretty good start through this for the year. The next thing is also tonight, we've completed our audit of the Sparks High School Student Activity Fund audit, and that's attached as part of your packet. And I want to convey, while we have a chance here, I know it's a voluminous report and it's got a volume of findings in it, but I wanted to let you know that during the exit conference with the principal who requested the audit and was basically, when we were going over the items one by one, she was very precise in directions to her staff, providing remedies on how these concerns are going to get addressed immediately. And it was happening right there in front of us at the exit conference, which was excellent to see. And I just wanted to let you know on that. And I think you'll find those responses within the audit report also for each of the findings that they were happening immediately, which was positive, and I thought I should let you know on that one. And for big picture purposes, we do track, because you're seeing similar findings from the audit reports as we go through these. We do track them, we aggregate them, and annually we hand off the results to the business office. So they have a kind of like a tracking sheet, a summary sheet of what we found during the year, of what we keep finding, so they can focus on that during their annual training when they meet with the bookkeepers on these matters. This item is basically for action to forward this report to the Board of Trustees. So there's that, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have on either the status summary sheet for the audit plan or that audit. Thank you.
Any questions for Kirk?
So we're talking about both items now, the agenda for the audit and the Sparks audit?
Yeah, it's basically just kind of it's the Sparks audit is the action item. The summary sheet of our projects is just giving you guys a heads up, hey, this is what we're working on and where we're at with it. So mainly the action item is the Sparks audit report.
Okay. So I guess on the agenda, you mentioned the charter schools are on there for their annual certification. Does that include Bailey and the quarterly monitoring you're doing?
Kirk Starkey for the record, Bailey was on the annual monitoring and for the sponsorship renewal, which means they get to operate for, I think they got 3 years, I believe. They were approved to continue to operate as a sponsor of the district for 3 years. The quarterly monitoring, we didn't do that this year. We did it last year. That was done, and they attended to all those items that we were following up on from their last financial statement. This financial statement, we had no issues. It was a good audit that the CPAs issued. So it was clean this year. Very good.
Cool, thanks. So that's the charter school. And then anybody else have any comments on the Sparks audit? I had
I do.
just one, but I think you kind of addressed it, Kurt.
Oh, thanks.
Vito?
Kirk, on this page 21 of 48, the Sparks audit, I was going to read the SAFPM version 2, but I didn't get to it. But on the third recommendation that you guys were making here, you said make every effort to spend funds within the same year that the funds are raised. When I looked at that, it looked to me like, if you tell people to spend money, it's gonna lead to fraud, waste, and abuse. So is there a way we can actually get to where we can either tell them that if you're collecting too much, then reduce the amount next time, or something that you don't just tell them, well, go and spend it, because they're gonna spend it, and I don't know what on.
Kirk Starkey, for the record. No, you're right on. It's a good question. That's what comes up when we meet on these is kind of the point behind the issue. And usually what happens is that some of the, let's say one of the sports teams is collecting a little too much, isn't cognizant of how much gets collected versus how much spent till later on. So the principal, like in this case, has instructed them all, is there a necessity for some of these expenses? And if not, then let's not have the assessments anymore. Otherwise, we end up piling up money in the accounts and it just rolls, and it's not fair to the parents who are putting the monies in and paying for basically future years. So usually it's having the schools to do an assessment of, hey, do we need this fee? If we need the fee, then collect it and spend the money for them at that point in time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Kirk, Todd Chipley for the record. So on page 23 of that same report, when we're talking about the stale dated checks, so this is a recurring issue, the report's comment, this is a recurring issue noted in prior review performed in 2016. So is this an ongoing problem that they're not looking at their checks that, and I'm assuming this is checks they've written that were never cashed, correct? Correct. And so we have these pending from several years ago. Did they rectify that in 24, 25-year issuances, and this is just a past thing, or what is this from the audit?
Kirk Starkey, for the record. The audit period ran, these are the ones we examined in this audit period. The ones afterwards, the principal has corrected and it's gotten on, because there wasn't let's say, wasn't aware that this was happening in this manner. So we could have 24, if I'm answering your question right, 2024, there could be a carryover issue, but as of, let's say, January, when we had their closing conference, January 2025, no, that will not be an issue. But it could have fallen into after 2023 to 2024. You are correct.
Okay, so Todd Shipley for the record again. So I know we're not talking about a huge amount of money here, but how are they dealing with this on the balance sheet from year to year?
Carrying it.
Just carrying it
Yeah,
as
it was expense.
an expense?
Yeah,
When
exactly.
it wasn't real, but
Wasn't.
okay.
Yep.
Any other questions from anybody on the Sparks report?
Nicole Lohr for the record. You mentioned that the principal requested this audit.
Correct.
Did the principal give a reason, or, I'm just curious.
No, great question. What ends up happening is when principals come new onto the job and our office is aware of it, we send them, or Jeannie does, sends them a communication, says, hey, welcome, congratulations on the new position. Here was your previous audit report that we have. Be aware of this. And if you would like an audit of where you currently are, reach out to us. Some take us up on it, and we love it when they do. Some don't. But when they do take us up on it, we try to get out there immediately. And basically the reasoning was, and she was right, you kind of get a bright line, hey, where are we? Because I'm taking over this new position. And so we try to encourage that to everybody. Yeah.
Nicole Lohr for the record, I think that was very diligent on this principal's
Yeah.
behalf, and I commend that principal, and I am happy to hear that positive changes are occurring due to the audit. I think that's a great positive forward movement, and assuring that her school is, that her school is handling these issues correctly.
Yeah.
I do have one more question, if that's okay. Without there for the record, on page 29 at the bottom, where you listed scholarship funds,
Okay.
I'm not sure, is the 118,998, is that combined scholarship and checking account balance? Because I'm not sure if you have the 76,493.32 and then that is replicated below it, but then you guys have these individual scholarship accounts. But in the body of this, he says that sometimes, they're putting some of these scholarships into the checking account somehow. in the body of the, of your finding.
Which page again? I'm sorry.
I'm on page 29, at the very bottom. Page 4, actually 44 or 48,
Oh,
sorry.
no, no problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, Vito.
Yeah, no, take your time.
Let's hear. So, say that one again. I'm sorry to make you.
Okay,
I was-
so I have 76,000 twice.
Okay.
You know, which is a scholarship investment account. But if you read the body of your background and findings, something in here says that the checking account is mixed in with this. So I'm wondering, is the 118,998 part of the checking account? Or is the 118,998 the total scholarship funds plus interest?
Kirk Starkey, for the record, the 118 is the total scholarship funds. The 276 you're seeing up there, one is but from the accounting records, and the other is like from the bank statements that we have. So we're showing that those are right, but we're trying to say that what we have in that scholarship account is, we can't figure out in some ways, what is he, if there's some old accounts commingled in that balance. We think there was an entry done at the business office level that needs to be rectified, and that was the finding, so they can work with the business office and get those balances back in line is basically it.
Vito, is it for
Did
the
I-
record? So you're saying that the total in the scholarship fund should actually be 118,000?
Let me ask Matt real quick, because he was if he remembers this one totally before sorry. By recording one is detailed.
Hi, Matt McMahon, internal auditor for the record. I think what I'm hearing you say is that the 118,000 comprises, or that represents the amount of scholarship funds that we saw in all of their SAF accounts. The two items that read 76,000 are what we see in specifically the scholarship account. So this issue is talking about how the individual accounts include scholarship funds, which should have been flowing through the scholarship specific accounts, which are then pooled with the district.
Okay, so, Vito Zudem, for the record, so we're saying, because if you add, I think I'm still a little confused. So is the 118 what should be in there? Or is it the 76,000 and the 76, it doesn't even make sense to me, the 76 and 76, because it's the same exact amount. So I'm not really sure what should be in that account. Is it the 118,000 and somewhere recorded in a different place, but it's not the 76,000 and somewhere recorded in something else? Like Kirk said, maybe somewhere recorded in a different ledger account or something. Is that?
Matt McMahon for the record. So the 76,000 represents the asset account that is within the school's checking account
Okay.
that reflects the scholarship specific funds. And then the 118 includes entries that we found that appear related to scholarship funds, and those totals are likely attributed to an accumulation over the years of scholarship funds that did not flow through the scholarship specific asset account. So it's in the checking account, but it's not accounted for within the scholarship specific account.
Vito is there for the record. So when we account for those, the scholarship funds should be more than the 76,000 that you guys are saying here. Is that my understanding? When we go through the 118 and separate what should be part of scholarship and what is not part of scholarship, are we saying that the scholarship funds are going to be higher than the 76,000 that we're reflecting?
That's what it appears so.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Todd Shipley for the record, to Kurt and staff. You're saying here, though, your recommendations are, something's wrong, they gotta figure out what it is. So you're just identified a problem, and we know it's there. Your statement is that there's a problem, and that the business office has to go back and rectify it.
Kirk Starkey for the record, correct, that's correct.
Okay, any other questions on the report? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to accept the report, that we move it forward to the Board of Trustees.
I, Nicole Lohr, move that the Audit Committee forward the January 2025 Sparks High School Student Activity Fund audit to the Board of Trustees.
Do I have a second?
I, Vito Zude, second the motion.
All right, we've got a motion to accept the report and move it to the Board of Trustees, and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. All right, on our agenda item.
Sorry, do we take public comment?
There's no public comment.
We asked for public comment already.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 2.03, presentation of the report on fraud, waste, and abuse and hotline concerns and the outcomes since November 7th, 2024 meeting of the Audit Committee. For information only. Kirk?
Thank you. Kirk Starkey for the record. As you're aware, our office administers the district's Report Fraud, Waste, and Abuse Hotline Program. And attached as part of your packet tonight is the worksheet that we typically present at these meetings, showing the updates on the cases received this period since our last meeting, and then updates on ones that were not closed as of the last meeting. Since our last meeting in November, we've had 10 new cases. 3 of them we were able to close because the complaints received, they were basically either just statements, or there was not sufficient information for us to even initiate an investigation into the complaint. One of the cases, we did refer to another responsible department for them to investigate. We closed that one as far as our hotline program goes. 3 of the other cases we reviewed on our own, they were outside the scope of the program, so those they get closed as well. We still have 3 other cases that are active and open, and we will continue to investigate those. The ones on the top of the spreadsheet in your packet, 2 of them from the prior period we closed, whereas one was determined again to be outside the scope of the program, and another one was referred to another department. It's more in their domain to investigate. So that leaves us overall, we still have 5 open cases of various complexities at this time that we'll continue to work on. In general terms, we're averaging about 3 cases a month is kind of still, that's the way we've been for probably the last 12 months or so. I'd say we're getting about 3 a month. And we'll continue to report back as we go forward on these. If you have any general questions on the program itself, I'm happy to take those.
Any questions for Kurt? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to agenda item number 2.04, which is the presentation of the Audit Committee calendar for information purposes only.
Kirk Starkey for the record. This one, as you guys know, this is kind of just a heads up of the next meeting dates. Right now, we only have the exact date for our next meeting, which is May 8th. The other ones, we'll get them here before long, and we'll get those out to you. Typically, they're the second Thursday of the month. It's just kind of for planning purposes for you. The big one, though, on this one, I'd like to say, Wesley, Nicole, and Vita, your terms are expiring here in June. We'd love you to stay on. Continue to serve if you'd like to. If you do like to, please just shoot us an email. That'd be fantastic, and we'll let the board know. But I appreciate it, everybody. I know it's bad weather, so everyone being online and being here, appreciate it tonight very much. Thank you.
All right, so we are near the end here. We have closing items of 3.01, which is, again, public comment. Do we have any closing public comment?
There's no public comment.
All right, hearing that, we can move on to agenda item number 3.02, which is announcement of the next meeting, which is May 8th, 2025 at 4 p.m. So please calendar that, everybody. And without any ado,
Before we get to the adjournment, The item that we were discussing earlier that the council said is not on the agenda, can we put it on the agenda of the next meeting, please?
Kirk Starkey for the record, yes, no
Okay,
problem.
thank you.
All right, thank you, Vita.
Yeah.
Any other comments before we move for adjournment from anybody on the committee? All right, hearing none, we have item 3.03, which is to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. Take care.
Thank you, Vita, for saying that.